From NBC News, this is Today.
This morning on Forever Young, a guide to life after 50 mother-daughter relationships. Well, they can be one of the most precious relationships in life. They can also be one of the most challenging, as depicted in the scenes like this from the 1990 movie, Postcards from the Edge.
Remember my 17th birthday party when you lifted your skirt up in front of all those
I
people?
did not lift
including
my
that guy,
skirt.
Michael.
It twirled up! You only remember the bad stuff, don't you? What about the big band that I got to play at that party? Do you remember that? No! You only remember that my skirt accidentally twirled up!
And you weren't wearing any underwear.
Well...
A new book tells you how to get real about your mother. It's called, Oh No, I've Become My Mother, How to Outwit the Mom Gene and the Life You Want. Sandra Reishus?
Correct.
Is the author. Good morning, Sandra.
Good morning.
The mom gene. This is something you think is something that we should expect, that we are so affected by our mothers.
We are. There is nothing we can do. She's the person that raised us, and so we saw her. She taught us how to be in the world, and those are set in place by the time we're 5 to 7.
You know, we're always, these are sometimes so complicated, these relationships, because you feel so close. And yet there's a kind of a natural thing as you grow up to kind of want to separate yourself from your mom. But you're saying that they affect our self-esteem, how we look at relationships, so many things. So first of all, how do we go about finding out how to deal with this? And you, for example, had to do this yourself.
I realized that there were times when I was exactly like my mother. And you know, all mothers have good parts and all mothers have limiting parts. There are no perfect mothers out there, just as there are no perfect daughters. Mm-hmm. And so looking at that, what you do is you take that and you say, you know, I got this from my mother, but is this really the way I want to be out in the world?
Oh, so what you're doing is you're saying that you have to really look at it to sort of separate yourself enough to really make decisions about who you want to be in life. So one of the things you say you've got to do is take a look and really understand who your mother is or was.
You have to look at what her agenda was, her projections, her hang-ups, and see what she passed on to you. Not blaming mothers because they got it from their mother, got it from their mother, and it just keeps going back. So we're not blaming mothers, but we're saying look at it because it's going to give you options now and free you up to be who you really are.
I mean, sometimes agrees. I think people might say, mothers specifically, I'm a mother, might say that it's not just who your mother was, but how you received who your mother was or is. So there's a complicated bit there. But you say, for example, there are the intrusive center stage moms, as we, I think, may have just seen in the character played by Shirley MacLaine. Also the no-show mom, the critic at large mom, the helpless puppet mom, the one you've got to take care of, the drama queen mom, the non-separated mom. Who's that?
The non-separated mother is the one that wants to latch on and live her life through you.
And the jealous mom.
Yes.
And you say by looking at your own mother through this sieve, it was highly instructive to you in terms of helping you understand your own life.
It was, and it allowed me to separate, because it's all about separation. So it allowed me to separate from her agenda, and become who I really am, which I couldn't have done if I hadn't have done that. Just like all women, it gives all women options. You know, if they only have one way of doing the world, looking at it through mom's eyes, so to speak, then that's all they have is that option. But if they clear that out, then they have all kinds of different options.
So, for example, if your mom had a problem with relationships and having good, healthy relationships with men, by looking at your mom in this way, you can come away and say, you're saying, I don't have to have problems with my relationships because I can see that as something I choose to not have. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. That you can say, okay, I'd rather have a relationship this way or this way or this way. I have different ways of having relationships now than I did before. Because before, I was doing exactly what my mother did.
Also aging, you know, that's something that how to age and how we face aging is something we learn from our moms. Moms who don't have great self-esteem can affect our own self-esteem. Would you agree with that?
Yes, and aging.
So how can we use this system that you've created to learn from that? Aging was really important that you brought that up because we really don't have any role models.
even from our moms. We saw how they aged, but life is so different for us now that we don't have those role models to follow. And they had a completely different life than we have now. We can do anything. 50's a new 30, right? And so we can go out there and we're still alive and active and exploring the world.
So bottom line on all this, in looking full face as you do in this process of writing this first book, are you happier? Are you more clear about your life?
Oh, it's like night and day. It's like black and white. Yes, I feel very, very centered, which is what this message gives to women, that they can also feel centered and together and exploring the world just on who they are, without the mom voice sitting there saying, you know, you shouldn't do that, or you're not good enough for this, or you're too fat, you're too thin, you're too tall, you're too short, you're too, you know, all these negative messages that mothers give us. Again, mothers don't intentionally set out to damage their daughters, but it still gets in there. Okay?
All right. Sandra Reishus, thanks so much. And
Thank
maybe
you,
I hope
Ann.
that learning this can help us love our mothers even more for who they are. Thanks so much, Sandra.
Thank you.
And up next,